Welcome back to Loose Framing Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Martin-Olich, Film Commissioner for Hillsborough County. Joining me today is
Birdie Doyle.
And I'm Sam Allen. And today we have on a very exciting guest. We have an actress named Elvia Hill, and she's multifaceted. She's done a whole bunch of stuff. She's recently gotten into writing and directing, and she is our Women's History Month guest for Loose Framing. Sam, what are you looking forward to most about this podcast episode?
I'm really excited. Sorry, I spoke over you.
I do it all the time.
I'm really excited to hear about her experiences, especially because she was talking to me earlier about how connected she was to the Latina community and how that really played into her experience as an actor. And I was just like, oh, I'm fascinated. I can't wait to hear more about that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, since we've already recorded, let's not spoil anything. We'll just say, let's get right into the interview. Stay tuned. And welcome back. My guest today is multifaceted industry member. She's an actress, a director, a writer. How are you doing, Miss Elvia Hill?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. How was my intro? We're an actress, a director, a writer. Is there anything else I missed?
You got it all. Fantastic. Yes.
Awesome. Before we start, you've been in Tampa for a while. What's your connection to Tampa? Are you from here? Did you move here recently or forever ago?
I moved here, I want to say 2006. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. That's a culture shock.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, not for the reasons you think. So Milwaukee has a large Hispanic population. And then coming here to Brooksville, Florida. It was not that way at all.
Different.
Very honky-tonk country. So it was a culture shock in that sense.
Are you still local to Brooksville?
I am.
Yeah. Okay, so you've liked it after 20 years.
Yeah, I ended up thinking I wasn't going to.
Sure.
Because I loved the city. But there is something about the peace and quiet. There's no traffic. That's lovely.
I ended up there one time, and I moved here in 2016. And in 2018, I was driving and I found myself up there and I thought it was so pleasant. And I don't meet anybody from there. So it's cool that you've been living up there for so long. So you're an actress. When about did that start? Can you give us a rundown of how you got into the industry?
Yeah. So that started officially about 6 years ago. It was a little bit before 2020.
Oh, gosh.
I was a stay-at-home mom, and I wanted to branch out and do things. I had a friend that passed away, and I was, at that time, he was really young, and I started having panic attacks thinking it was going to be me next, and it was one of those, what do I want to do with the rest of my life?
Sure, understandably.
Moments. And so I Googled how to become an actor and a model, and I remember when I first started, I called two people. I called Rory Lawrence, who does the Tampa Bay Theater Festival.
Okay.
For advice, and then Taylor Gerard, who's a wonderful actor. And I met both of them when I was working as a receptionist for a law firm. And they both told me that if I wanted to do this, that I had to really get into the scene by taking acting classes and doing a bunch of local short films and anything I can get into.
Yeah.
So I took their advice and I just dove headfirst.
Awesome. Yeah. So what was the first project that you got hired on? Or maybe what was the first project that you were a big role on?
Well, the first project that I got hired on was actually a commercial for Publix.
There you go.
Yeah. It was, I think, when Uber Eats first came out or something like that. It was something in regards to that, and I had to hold a grocery bag and knock on the door and say hi. So
I'm here delivering.
And that came out. I was in Publix all over the place. and my family got to see me
That is awesome.
everywhere. There was a Publix for a really long time.
Yeah.
And that was like the first thing and the biggest thing I had done for a while.
And that's huge visibility.
Yeah.
I can imagine that was a jump start for your career.
Because it wasn't just Florida. It was a bunch of states.
Yeah,
So-
it's all the Southeast, right? That Publix is in.
Yeah.
We do so many Publix commercials that feels so hometown as a first project. So Publix, what was that also the same, that first project that you felt like you had a huge role in?
I think so. Just because of the pay.
Sure.
And the visibility it ended up receiving.
Sure.
Yeah.
So now that you have been through a good few years of working in the industry, because this is our Women's Month episode or Women's History Month, do you feel like you had any obstacles as an actress versus, being male and an actor?
Yeah, I think every woman knows how hard sometimes it is to get on set as a creative. I think statistically we're not on set as much as men.
Sure.
But as of recently, I think we've made a lot of headway. I started doing my own things. And I know a bunch of women that started, becoming directors and writers so that they can get their work out there. And it's beautiful to see.
So I read in an interview of yours before we did this podcast that one of your big passions is storytelling. So why acting versus being an author or an illustrator or any other form of storytelling?
Yeah, I'm not good with my own words. That's all I can say about it.
Preach.
I can do well with someone else's script.
Sure.
But if I start talking, just like the words won't form the way I want them to.
Yeah.
I get very nervous. So I love to be able to bring someone else's story to life.
Sure.
But I started writing recently because I wanted to teach myself, I guess, how to create those stories and do work that I really wanted to do versus waiting for someone to give it to me.
Sure. Does writing feel different than acting, right? Like, is it a totally different release? Or is it kind of feel similar where it's still storytelling in a way?
I mean, it's still storytelling, right? But it's different because I get to bring the character to life exactly how I want to. And it's not a director telling me what they envision.
Sure.
It's my vision.
Yeah.
And I get to write that down. I get to choose exactly what I want that character to say. Just the story is completely mine.
Yeah.
And no one else's. And I really like having that control.
Have you been able to act the characters you've written yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I wrote my first short film last year. It's called Sidewalk Serendipity, and I wrote myself as a lead.
There you go.
Yeah. I had not previously done romance as a lead character.
Yeah.
And I really wanted that for my resume. I wanted that for my reel. And I love romance. I think it touches the heart. So when I wrote the character, I knew I was going to be the lead. And so.
Sure. And is that a short or a feature?
It's a short film.
It's a short.
Yeah.
And I heard a little birdie told me that will be playing at GIFF, which is opening tomorrow.
Yes. It's going to be the 26th at 6 p.m.
The 26th. That's Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday.
Oh, gosh. It's all getting so crazy.
Yeah. It's the day after my birthday, too.
Oh, congratulations. That's such a good birthday gift to yourself.
It falls around the same time every year. So last year, the party was on the 25th, and I got to celebrate dancing with a bunch of friends and people in the industry. It was a good time.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So you've written a short. Is that the only writing work you've done so far that's come to life on screen?
The only one so far. Doing the short film took a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right? A lot of time and money.
Yeah.
So I really want to rack up funds to be able to do the next one to make it even longer, which I'm working on. I am writing. And then eventually when that's done, I'll be able to do some more.
Yeah. So you've been in shorts and you've been in features, right? Which do you feel akin to more, shorts, or does it kind of not even feel different as an actress?
It doesn't feel different as an actress. I think you get more time sometimes with feature films to be in the character because you get more screen time with them.
Yeah.
But I think both are very fun and exciting.
Yeah. Well, since you've experienced both, do you think that being in a short, you have more, not pressure, but more of a responsibility to really get that character nailed second one because you have so little time with it? Well, I shouldn't say that. So little time compared to a feature film.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it feels different in that regard. I feel like I try to do it as much justice, even if it's a short,
Yeah, one
and
way or
even if
another.
it's a feature. Yeah.
Sure. So you started working on shorts. What did you have any kind of a mentor or anyone that kind of introduced you to this, or did you feel like you were kind of, dropped headfirst into this world of filmmaking?
Yeah. Initially, I don't think, and I even now, I don't think I have a mentor per se.
Sure.
I have met a lot of people in the industry
Mhm.
that are so kind,
Yeah.
and they, men and females alike,
Mhm.
that are just willing to give you advice and hold space with you in
Mhm.
in your projects. And I'm able to ask different people, reach out to them and ask for advice
Yeah.
whenever I'm doing something new, or if there is a project that I'm doing that is something similar to something someone else has done before.
Yeah.
So maybe not one mentor, maybe many
Sure. Well, it's
mentors.
that like it takes a village, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa has such a good village, such a good crew base that are so experienced and they're so kind. And I don't know about you, I've never worked anywhere but here in the industry, but it feels like that's, unique to us is that
Mm-hmm.
it's so kind and warm here and everyone's willing to help you. Because I can't imagine starting for the first, I mean, I can. I also started, I guess, at one point, but like, I can't imagine starting and then it's like, oh my gosh, like, I don't really know anything about how this works, especially
Hmm.
being on set. Did you ever feel kind of like a little lost on set, or was it, a confident thing that you started out?
Yeah. No, I've definitely felt a little lost in bigger productions, just
Sure.
because I'm like the little person
Sure.
in the big production. So I have felt lost, but like I said, people are so kind
Oh
here.
my
They just
gosh.
redirect you, or eventually
Mhm.
someone comes and helps you out. But yeah, I've definitely felt that. And I've heard a lot that Tampa is very warm
Oh my
from people
gosh.
that come out of state and film here. There's just
Yeah.
like, it's different. There's such a competitive nature in LA, New York, and we have that like southern
That
charm.
southern charm,
Yeah.
that, like, hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely a place that it feels, and I'll say this gently, it feels so low key and laid back, but the results and the product that we're making at the end of the day, you would not know that. It looks just as professionally
Mm-hmm.
done. It is as professionally done that it makes me feel so happy that this area, it's like, okay, everybody calm down. It's all gonna be okay.
Uh-huh.
Um, on the flip side of that, you were in Cobra Kai. Does that feel totally different? A huge production? And specifically, I mean, what's it like working as part of a legacy like that, a
Mm-hmm.
franchise like that?
It was, I just think, beyond anything I could have ever imagined, because
Mhm.
I still have people that reach out to me because of it.
Mhm.
And I recently got to be part of a documentary
Oh, that's
for it.
cool.
Yeah, about like the fans and that
Yeah.
legacy. So it's been an amazing experience.
Mhm.
It was the biggest part. It was the biggest thing I've ever been a part of, and honestly, still is the biggest
Sure.
thing. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
between the Karate Kids and how well the show is done.
Right, right. How can I top that? That was just a wonderful experience. It was the first time I was flown out for a
Oh, yeah.
project.
That must
Yeah,
feel good.
it was amazing. I was flown out to Puerto Rico.
Oh, and you have Puerto Rican roots,
Yeah, I
right?
am Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was nice to be there. I was there about maybe three or 4 days
Yeah.
filming, and then the rest of the time I got to be on the beach and
That's
just
awesome.
relax.
Yeah.
It was different than just coming here, doing the job, and heading back home.
Sure.
So it was, yeah, it was good.
Did you take any, like, acting knowledge away from that project in particular? Did you learn anything from that specifically?
I think so. Um, Watching the people I was on screen with,
Mhm.
their acting was different than mine.
Sure.
They were just so much more experienced, right?
Yeah.
And the way they spoke, it was just more confident.
I bet.
Their words were more spaced out
Mhm.
versus mine. I was just so excited to be there,
Rattling
and it was
along.
just like the Spanish was just coming out like
Oh, nice.
so fast because I was nervous.
Mhm.
So I really had to watch them and have that rub off on me, and just take
Yeah.
it slower. So,
Are you a fluent native Spanish speaker?
yes.
Did it feel different acting in Spanish than in English, or does that kind of feel like just two sides of the same brain and it kind of all blends together as far as acting
Yeah.
in it?
It is different. I feel like I have to think more about what I say,
Interesting.
because even though Spanish was my first language, I've been here so long
Yeah.
that you kind of forget it if you don't practice it.
Sure.
And I was playing someone of Mexican heritage, and I'm Puerto Rican. And so the dialect is different.
Yeah.
And so, like I was saying before, I was really nervous and I was speaking fast, but the Mexican dialect, they speak slower.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
you have to
Really
figure
bring
out
it
how to be
down.
able to speak in a way that's convincing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the fans out there, they're smart.
Yeah. You don't
And-
only have English
yeah.
speakers watching Cobra
And
Kai.
you can fake it and not be good at it, and they will notice and they will comment on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, just a little topical thing. I recently saw Amelia Perez, and I think Selena Gomez had to learn her lines in Spanish. I don't think she speaks Spanish.
I don't think she knows the
fluently.
language
Yeah.
fluently. Yes.
Did you see that?
I did see it.
What did you think of her Spanish? So it does make a difference then.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And if you see any of the reels that they post on it,
Sure.
the fans, they're not fans actually.
Oh,
The
viewers.
The viewers, their comments are not so nice because you can tell. You can tell that it was not very well done. The
Right.
Spanish, it was almost like someone translated from
Sure.
Google,
Yeah.
and she was saying things that in conversation or just naturally people wouldn't say.
Yeah. Okay.
So you knew. It was like, oh, no one talks like that.
It kind of feels like when you have a Spanish student and they're learning kind of the formal, and it's like
right.
nobody says it like that.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Right, exactly. So it comes off that way, and people noticed, and they didn't care for it, and they'll tell you.
So with the way that the industry is warming up to other cultures, which is taking way too long, but now that we're seeing that it's paying off, do you think that it's a major benefit to you to be able to act in two languages? Do you see more of that coming up in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think now people are noticing how much Latinos they want to see themselves represented on screen. We go to the movie theaters. Our money, it means a lot if we see someone on screen that looks like us, a story that we want to see on screen. People will pay to go see the film, and so our money matters.
Yeah, and
so people are noticing that now, and I think more stories are coming our way.
Yeah.
That where you see that, it would be lovely to see more, right? But we are making progress, and I love to see that.
It's starting to feel, and as someone who doesn't speak Spanish, it's starting to feel like one of those things where it's like, oh, way back when, if you had a high school degree, that was fine, but now you need a college degree. It almost feels like in the future where, Hollywood is warming up to other languages, and it's like almost gonna feel like you need to have another language. And so it seems like such a benefit to be able to speak Spanish and know how that should come off on screen.
Yes.
Going off of that, do you have any character in particular, any story in particular that you felt the most, that you could relate the most to?
Yeah, actually, I did a feature called Nochebuena, which is Christmas Eve. It's a holiday that Puerto Ricans celebrate, or a lot of Latinos celebrate. It's the day before Christmas. Or the night before Christmas, and we all celebrate, have a party. I played a character named Maria, and she was like this spicy mama who was very pretty, and she was cooking, and she was raising this son. I felt more akin to her because I am a mom.
Sure.
And there's just this fun sassiness to her that I feel like I am.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about kind of your acting and stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about this, not transition, I don't want to say you're leaving acting, but can you tell me about this increase in your writing and directing and where that's leading?
Yeah. So I started writing because like I said, I wanted to put myself in projects that I was not in. So Sidewalk Serendipity came about that way. my co-director, Blake Cortez, and I wanted to work together. He had done a short film called Red Lipstick that was really, really fun. It was like this assassin female.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah.
It's like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith that just misses.
Exactly. And so we wanted to work together again because that was really fun. So I started writing this. It was my first time writing, and I wanted something cute and warm. And so I did Sidewalk Serendipity, and I produced it. I co-directed it. I wrote it, and I starred in it. And it was just a lot. It was a lot in like the best way. I learned so much, and it helped with my acting and really understanding the scene and, the camera, and just directing other people as well really helped. And I would love to continue that. I just need to work on it a lot more in order to be more confident in it.
Sure.
And so my next one, I hope that I can take everything I learned from Sidewalk Serendipity and put it into that one, and maybe even write a feature for Sidewalk, because it's such a cute story. It would just change a little bit. The story would have to change.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So is the next step editing?
So I had an editor, and he did a lot of work, and he still continues to do stuff for me, which I love. He's such a great person, Rich Rodman.
Oh,
yeah.
Rich Rodman.
Yeah.
He's a classic. Yeah.
I met him at the Women in Film and Television meetings, and he's such a great person to have on your team. And so he said he'd train me, and
there you go.
It'd be so much fun to do. I just don't know if I have the mental capacity for
it.
Yeah.
And I mean, he came in here. So Rich Rodman's a staple in Tampa. He's a pillar. We've had him on the podcast, and we have him come in every once in a while and kind of give us a refresher on what we've missed. He helps us with lighting and blah, blah, blah. He works in DaVinci Resolve, the editing software, and he also is I'm due for a lesson from him also. But when you pull up DaVinci versus anything else, and I've been editing for years, it is so different. It's like you have no editing skill. So it takes so much. And it's the same thing. If you don't practice, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
Every time I open it, I'm like, I don't know how to do anything in this program.
When we were editing, when he was showing me the things, and I was just like, I can't comprehend what you're doing. No. It's magic to me.
You need a camera on his shoulder so you can go back and you're like, how did you do that? Everything is different. So by directing and writing and working behind the camera, do you feel like you were able to bring your characters to life more because you were almost like look from the outside looking in? Do you feel like that made any kind of a difference on the characters that you didn't play?
Yeah. I think, to be honest, it might have impacted me negatively almost, because I was so worried about so many other things that I don't think I could fully dive into the character.
I see that. Yeah. So is that a world that you see yourself in the future, or was it, a good glimpse into why you like acting so much?
Yeah. I think it's a good glimpse as to why I like acting so much. I don't have as much responsibility. I can just react to the person that's with me, and I think that's lots of fun. You know, would I like to do directing again? Yes. I think if I do the route where I write my character in, it'll be a very small role.
Interesting, a little cameo. The M. Night Shyamalan model. He's always in all of his, right? Do you feel kind of type A when you're directing, where you're like, oh, I just wish I could take over for you and do what I, not that what I want you to do, but do you ever feel like, oh, I don't really know how to say it, but I know how to do it?
Yes. So when I was directing my actors, it was like, you can do this. I wanted to do it for them, but it was definitely, I have to let them do it themselves, right? Because this is an actor's journey. But I had to coach them along the way. I'm like, okay, do this. What would you do if you were trying to eat this man alive, like devour him?
What's your thought process here?
And actually, my lead actor, D Mount, he is not an actor.
Interesting.
Yes, he's a DP. And I had asked him to do this for me because he had the look I was going for. And so he did it, first time acting. So with him, I had to do some coaching because it was his first time.
Yeah.
He was very nervous, understandably. So that was one of those things where I was like, I wish I could be in your shoes right now.
Take over,
so I could do it for you. So you wouldn't have to be nervous. Like everyone here loves you, you know. So yeah, sometimes I do feel type A.
Did you see a benefit to having someone who wasn't an actor come in and almost have like a fresh eyes on the project or a fresh mindset for acting?
I don't know. I don't know if there was a particular benefit to it. I think he did a great job being his first time, but I think honestly in every set we should strive to get the best actors in there. He did a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm super thankful that he did it. But next time I think I will have him work as a DP.
Sure.
And I'll get someone who's kind of been in the industry for a little bit.
Yeah. Do you so you were saying a second ago that it's like coaching. What was his name? DeMont?
D-Mount.
D-Mount. I'm sorry. I had it in my head. The letters, I think. Did it feel like how you feel with your kids, where it's like all you can kind of do is guide them along? And, you know, was there anything that you took from or have taken from acting that's helped in your personal life at all?
Yeah, I think listening. Yeah, actively listening has really helped me as a parent from the acting to parent world because being a parent is very overwhelming. I love being a mom.
Sure.
But sometimes in our rush to get through the day, we don't listen to our kids. And when I'm acting with someone, I have to listen to them so that I can react properly. Sure. And so I think I've been able to kind of transfer that skill over.
Yeah. Do you think that, to tie it back to Women's History Month, do you think that you being a parent and a female, a mom, has made it, or do you notice a difference between maybe your fellow actors who are male that are dads in their personal life?
I think that's such a difficult question.
Let's rag on him.
Yeah. I think not everyone, okay?
Sure.
But a lot of men have the luxury of having a woman at home that'll take care of the babies, and they don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah.
I think as a parent, though, it opens your heart up in a way that a person who is not a parent can experience. It's almost like your heart is outside of your body. And I think you're more in tune with your emotions because of it. Because I think because you're always afraid, because there's so many feelings
wrapped up in it.
As a parent that you wouldn't normally get as a person with no kids. So I think you can see that in the difference in actors that aren't parents.
So it's like just as much as acting has, you know, influenced who you are as a person outside of work, who you are outside of work has influenced how you act.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And because of that, I can cry really easily because I'm just like always at the verge of tears because of them.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So some people get into acting later in life. Some people, you know, start out 6 years old. I want to be an actor. You fall in the middle there a little bit.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to people that aren't trying to start young, or later in life? Like did it feel any different being in your 20s, 30s and starting up?
Yeah, I think there is definitely a difference because when you are starting out as someone who's really, really young, I think that we can fall into this trap of being influenced very easily. When you have life experience, when you've gone through a few things, I think you go in with a little bit more wisdom, hesitance.
Sure.
I don't think people can take advantage of you as easily.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so starting at the age that I did, I think was beneficial for me.
Sure.
I felt really out of it though because I felt like I had to compete a little bit with someone that was younger.
Yeah,
right?
I believe it.
But I've gained just so much confidence doing it versus when I was younger. I started acting as an adult, but I was a performer since I was young.
Interesting.
Yeah, I sang.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice.
And I went to a performing arts school, and I loved singing, but I got really, really nervous, like stage fright, all of a sudden in high school, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I think I didn't pursue anything in the stage for a really long time because of it.
Yeah.
I was scared.
Sure.
I was to do it. So as an adult, I've gained a lot more confidence back because I decided to, take the stage versus, singing. I did acting.
In January, so this is our March episode, in January we had on improvisers, and they said the same thing. And I had never thought about it before, but it's like, getting up and, bringing your emotions to the surface, it totally impacts, you as a person outside of work. And it's one of those things that's so cool because it's like, this isn't just entertainment. It's storytelling, but it's also like helping you and like, growth and all that.
Yeah.
So switching gears, your Sidewalk Serendipity is going to be at GIFF starting tomorrow. What was it like as an actress submitting a film to a film festival? Is this the first time that you've been involved with GIFF behind the camera or at all?
So I attend GIFF the last 3 years every year because either friends are in it.
Sure.
Or I've been in a short film that someone else has done.
Sure.
It was my first time submitting my own short. And I was a little nervous. I was scared that it wouldn't get in.
Sure.
And I want all of the cast and crew to be able to see it together. So that I think this will be a wonderful experience. I think it is definitely nerve-wracking because it's your baby at this point and you want everyone to love it just as much as you do. So I'm excited it got in. But I think, submitting to any film festival is that way. And it's gotten accepted to a lot. And it's gotten not accepted to a lot. So that always hurts, but it's a learning experience.
Oh my gosh. I know. I remember I was a film student at UT and we would have to make shorts. And I remember sitting there every time it would play and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom for the next 10 minutes and I'll come back and we'll move on.
I don't like watching myself on screen either.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Well, okay, so when you're acting, you don't like seeing your performance after the fact?
No, I mean, I will do it.
Sure.
Because I have to. Yeah. But I get this this embarrassment in my soul, and I just want to cover my eyes and not. I don't want to see anyone's reaction, but I have to. As a filmmaker for this film, I had to see what people liked and what people didn't like.
Sure. Did you screen test your short?
I didn't, but it was submitted to a smaller film festival originally, and when I went to it, I got to see what people laughed at and what people didn't, what hit and what didn't. And I got to see on screen how it looked and cut things out that I just didn't think.
That don't, when people don't react.
Exactly. Or visually didn't appeal to me. I thought it was not well done in, one part or something like that. So that really helped with the rest of the film festival submissions. Yeah,
it can be so nerve-wracking and it can be so confusing when there are so many film festivals and you're trying to decide which one fits the film best, right? Like, are we sending it to something because we want it purchased or is it we just want to, share it with our community? And GIFF has such a nice way of going the community route. And so it's really nice to be able to get together and see, because it's not made in a vacuum, right? You want to see the whole audience and how they react.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank
GIFF
you.
is such a perfect place to kind of debut, yourself as a writer and a director.
Yeah. It's great to go there now. And instead of networking and saying, I'm just an actor, I get to say, hey, I have a project here. Come watch it. That'll be a fun experience.
Absolutely. And especially for it to be at home and, local.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
As far as advice for people that are trying to get into it, what did you find was the most helpful for you when you started acting? Maybe it was watching actors, maybe it was attending classes. What did you think that you took the most from?
It was definitely attending acting classes. There is nothing like getting that experience with other actors in a safe place where you can make mistakes, where people can give you advice, and you are there to just take it in.
Sure.
You don't get that safe space on set because on set you have to bring your A game.
Sure.
You have to do it right because, time is money.
You're wasting time. You're wasting money. Yeah.
So definitely it would be to take acting classes, gain as much knowledge online, ask anyone you know about acting if they're actors, right? And you know what? I joined a bunch of acting Facebook groups.
Oh, I bet that's helpful.
Yes, and to be able to ask questions, and now they have this like anonymous.
Oh yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Tab you can hit if you're really embarrassed about the question.
Real quick, how much am I supposed to charge?
Yeah, like should I sign this contract?
It feels sketchy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so do that. And join local groups.
Yeah.
I remember doing WIFT the first time, and there was just a bunch of women and men there, and I had not experienced that before, and to be able to get to talk to producers, other directors, other actors, just a ton of people in the industry that have been in the industry for a long time. That is invaluable.
I agree. And when you get to talk to casting directors, it's interesting because you find out really where their headspace is at.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference as far as your acting classes? And you said you still attend acting classes here and there. Do you have a preference as far as having a big group of students versus an intimate group? Because I can imagine that having a big group, you'd have a lot more opinions and you'd have a lot more to workshop with. But I could see it on the flip side, how having an intimate group would make you feel very safe trying different things.
Yeah. So I think a smaller group is always best.
Is a preference.
The good thing about bigger groups is that there's more actors to play around with, but you become more comfortable with the students when it's a smaller group. So I've taken classes with Eugenie at Station 12. And she's a wonderful teacher, by the way. Yes, because she's a working actor, right?
And a workhorse
in big projects, and she works locally and then not locally, and she's a little bit everywhere. And it's amazing to work to be a student of someone that's such a great actor as well. But I think the size classes that she has is it's
a perfect kind of middle ground.
It's a middle ground, exactly.
She has done so much that I can only imagine that she has such a wealth of knowledge for those questions we were talking about that you submit anonymously on Facebook, where it's like, hey, can I just ask you really quick, like, what is this? What is that? She's been such a staple here that it's great that she's teaching and not just working, because you're right, she's a working actress, but she's taking the time to teach, and we're getting great results from those classes. Every time I see their showcase and all that marketing, all the marketing materials that they put out at the end of every semester, I am not shocked, but I am pleasantly surprised that they're just killing it over there.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. You can book off of these showcases.
After the showcases, interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, because it happened to me. So I did the showcase, and one of Eugenie's friends, Victoria Jorgensen, came in, and she says, "Hey, I have this wonderful project for you to be a part of if you're interested." And so I've been able to, develop that friendship, but it was from the showcase. And so I think it's a very smart move for actors to do these.
That's good. Do you see yourself ever moving into being on camera but not acting? Maybe as like a host or, commercial kind of stuff?
Well, so commercials here, bread and butter, okay? I book so much print and commercial work. It's fantastic. For when I don't book film, and because I get a little sad when that happens.
Understandably.
Yeah, so I can see that definitely going forever because, I mean, they need actors and models of all ages for those projects. I would love to continue to do stuff behind
the camera more.
The camera. I need to get more confident doing it. Is all. Yeah, just keep working on that. Yeah, exactly. And eventually that could be something I could do. Because once you start, you get that itch, like you want to do it again and again and again. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I've developed an ego being on camera, and it's addictive. It's addictive. I answered a call for extras, and they pulled me aside as an extra, and they were like, "Hey, can we give you lines?" And I was like, "Please give me lines. Give me something to do." And they were like, "Go ahead and punch that guy in the face." I was like, I'm so glad I answered this call for extras. Okay, so a last couple questions. Is there a genre that you like acting in the most? Do you find yourself funny? Do you like comedy? Or would you be dying to do a horror, slasher kind of film? What do you think?
So like I said, I love romance.
Romance.
I would love to do that. I would love to do a comedy, actually.
Comedy, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like I am funny. I'm like one of the funniest people I know. But I haven't been able to play a lot on camera for some comedy. So I would love to do that. I won't do horror.
No?
No.
Interesting.
I'm so scared of scary movies. So I just can't bring myself to do it.
I always wondered that. And especially when I was a kid and in high school, if you have someone who's underage, under 17, and they're in a rated R movie, but they were in it, can they go see the movie? Would you allow your 7-year-old child that was,
Right.
acting in daylight and then they edited it to be,
Yeah.
dark and scary and the special effects? Like, would you want to go to that? I think about that a lot.
You
I
know
wonder
what?
if
That's a good question.
'Cause
I wouldn't
it's-
let my kids see it.
I don't think I would either.
Maybe
I don't
just
have
like the
kids.
little clip they were part of.
Right? Well, it's like I think about that with myself where it's like, and I'm not an actress, but would it be hard to act without all the special effects, right? Like, is that chair in The Conjuring, that rocking chair, really moving? Or like, and does that affect how you're reacting to it? Because, man, if I were on set and all these lights and something moved, I'd be freaking out anyway. But then they make it all dark. I'm just curious
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, I'd love to see the behind the scenes of it. It's so interesting.
Oh, a little loud.
I'm scared. Now I'm scared.
We're here after hours.
Yeah. I love to see the behind the scenes. I think it
Mhm.
makes it less scary. But I just can't, because even the
No.
thought of it, like, especially if it's something in regards to
Mhm.
demon possession,
Oh, yeah.
I don't play around with that stuff. So it's like I don't even want.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear about these actors who do these scary movies and they end up getting sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Well, when you grow up Christian, which I don't know about you, but I
Mhm.
grew up Christian,
Mhm.
I'm not messing with any of it.
Mhm.
Like, I don't care how much I believe today. No. Once the Ouija board comes out, get
Yep.
away from me.
Yep.
That you're messing with the wrong stuff.
Same way. Same way.
Well, last few things before we wrap up. Is there anything that you want to promote? I mean, we've got Sidewalk Serendipity coming up at GIFF, and we've got maybe some more projects coming up in the future that aren't super set in stone.
Mhm.
Where can we find you if we want to learn more about those things and keep track of you?
So you can see Sidewalk Serendipity at the Gasparilla Film Festival, March 26th at 6 p.m. You can find me on social media at It's Elvia Hill, and you can find my short film on Instagram at Sidewalk Serendipity Film.
Awesome. And you also have a pretty robust IMDb page if
Mhm.
anyone's curious about your
Go check
past
that
work.
out. Yeah.
GIFF this year is at the AMC West Shore, so make sure you're coming out before they tear down the AMC West Shore. This might be our last year there, so we're all going to take advantage and go see every single film that's playing there. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really glad that we were able to have you on. Like we said, for the trillionth time, it's Women's History Month, and you were the perfect guest to talk about this kind of stuff with. So I'm really grateful.
Thank you so much for having me. It was
You're
wonderful.
very welcome. And if y'all stick around, we'll come back in a few. And we're back. Sam, what did you think? I thought that was a really engaging episode.
I loved it.
Yeah?
I feel like there were a lot of really great takeaways. My
Yes.
favorite one specifically was when she was talking about Spanish
Mhm.
and how different it is to go from English to Spanish and how intentional she is
Mhm.
about speaking the different dialects. It's interesting. Like, I think about that when I watch, like British TV or something, but I
Sure.
had never thought about that from language to language. And I think I'm going to think about it more often.
I never thought about it with Spanish and the different, from being a Spanish student for half my life, I don't know why it didn't stick. I knew that, that there's different dialects. I never thought about it when acting.
Mhm.
Like how she plays a Mexican character in Cobra Kai. She is Puerto Rican by origin, so her dialects are so different. I thought that was really interesting. So I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and it really just speaks to how important diversity is.
Yeah, for real.
Especially just the different life experiences. My part of my family is Spanish speakers, and
Mhm.
even I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting her talking about moving, and this is just a side note,
Mhm.
from Milwaukee
Mhm.
to Brooksville.
Mhm.
Because before she said Brooksville, I was going to ask her, she said there was a huge Latin community in Milwaukee and in Wisconsin.
Mhm.
And when she was saying moving to Tampa, it was a culture shock. I was going to say, is it even more of a community up there because I feel like the Tampa Bay community is so heavily Latino.
Yeah.
But then she said she moved to Brooksville. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's what she was saying.
Yeah. And coming from Miami, of course, I am very, I miss my Latino brethren down there.
It's different here.
Yeah, it is.
It's different here. As someone who's only lived here and in DC, this is the place with the biggest Latin community that I've been. And so when people talk about Miami, I kind of forget about Miami. And I'm like, who's more, where is it, more of a community? But yeah, I'm from Annandale, Virginia. The community is largely Asian. So it's been a culture shock moving here for me too. What did you think about her talking about shorts versus features? That was really interesting to me. I automatically assumed that you would feel as an actor that shorts don't give you enough time to really dive into the character. She said the opposite.
Yeah, I actually wasn't really all that surprised by that. I thought it was interesting because I feel like she probably does feel just as invested in one versus the other. And since the project is shorter, even though she doesn't have as much time, she also doesn't have to invest the amount of time in remembering the material because the material will be smaller. So, but I thought it was really super interesting when she was talking about
She can really drive it home.
Yeah, the thing I thought also that was fascinating was her talking about how acting has impacted her parenting and how much she brought it into her real life. I was just like, I'm not a parent, and so I couldn't, relate necessarily, but it's just fascinating.
Yeah, I agree. And same, I'm not a parent, but I thought it was interesting she was talking about that because I was really wondering if it affected her personally as far as maybe work. I wasn't even thinking about as a parent. And so I thought it was really interesting that she said, and it makes so much sense that she said that her emotions are closer to the surface because she feels so much day by day just being a parent.
Yeah, I think that she tapped into an empathy. That's something I've heard from some of my friends who have had children is that there's a part of you that unlocks once you've had a child and it opens you up to a different flavor of empathy. And it's, I'm not quite there yet, but it's just like, the many experiences that we might one day have. And that is what's fascinating,
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I wonder if she'll bring her kids to GIFF this year. See what she made.
That would be lovely. We'll get a chance to see them.
Yeah, so she'll be at GIFF, Sidewalk Serendipity. It sounds wonderful. It sounds like it's a romance, so I'm excited for that. GIFF, I feel like we don't get a lot of romance shorts. I feel like we get majority documentary shorts at GIFF. And that's just from the last couple of years I'm saying that. But you were a volunteer too.
I was a volunteer, but I didn't watch too many. I watched really random ones. It was like, what do I have time for? So
side note, when I worked at the AMC, I would take my half-hour breaks and I would go sit in random movie theaters, but only for a half hour. I have seen so many movies between the years 2014 and 2017. Only a half hour. And I'm like, I don't know if that counts as having seen the movie.
No, it doesn't. But out of context movies is kind of hilarious. And I love the idea
of that.
Oh my
God, yeah. I'm trying to think of one. There's one that every time I see the movie poster for on Netflix or something, I'm like, I have seen 20 minutes of that. And it was bizarre. But I can't remember off the top of my head now. What else did you think about it, her episode? Any other takeaways?
I loved how she was talking about the process of getting her film into GIFF. It's interesting because we originally scheduled her to be here for Women's History Month, and then we decided we were going to release it a little early so it coincides with GIFF, and we didn't plan for her film to be, 2 days later. So it was kind of like, that's such a beautiful nugget, and to be able to hear about a film that she got in to the festival right before we go to see the film. I loved it.
Perfectly.
I know.
Perfectly timed. And she has a unique perspective because she is submitting for the first time she's submitting her film for the first time, not as an actress, but as the writer, director, producer, creator.
How cool is that to get your film into, she said, many festivals right off the bat?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. I've never submitted a short to a festival, so I don't know what that process looks like. But I can imagine it's really different coming from an acting background than it is if she were, say, 6-7 years into a writing or directing background. She's kind of jumping into the behind the camera scene a little bit more now, which is interesting. And I feel like that's something you see more and more these days, is starting off in front of the camera and then moving backwards eventually. Or I shouldn't say backwards, but back behind the camera.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised when she was saying that she didn't like to do the acting and directing at the same time, but it makes perfect sense.
It does.
To be able to just delve yourself completely into a character versus thinking about all the other logistics on a film. So I thought that was really interesting.
I thought that was too. And as long as I've been watching specifically Clint Eastwood films, I've always wondered, like, it must be so difficult to try to, and then who directs you when you're, when you're in the scene. So it's cool that she's had that experience because now she can use that moving forward. And she said, I think ultimately it's more of a cameo situation in the future is what she'd like. Well, M. Night Shyamalan situation.
Yes. Or Stan Lee,
Tarantino. I can't think of another one.
No.
Tarantino, he was doing it for a while. I don't know about the last couple movies, though.
Yeah. We do love us a cameo.
We love a cameo.
Plus, oh, wait, Hitchcock, too.
Hitchcock. You cannot direct without having been an actor, in my opinion. You can't tell people how to do something if you've yourself never done it. So it's interesting to see the opposite, where she's like, I come from an acting background, that'll help me direct my actors. I know what I want to hear when I'm in front of the camera and I'm being directed. So very unique experience, I think.
Yeah.
Very specific.
Yeah. And even though she didn't quite enjoy the experiment or enjoy the experience of doing both at the same time, I'm sure she learned a ton.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And she learned from Eugenie. She takes acting classes from Eugenie.
Yeah, when she was first talking about the acting classes, I was like, ooh, I bet it's Station 12.
For those of you who don't know, because we didn't say her full name in the podcast episode or in the interview, Eugenie Bondurant, she is a longtime actress. She's a Tampa local, and she hosts, or I should say teaches classes through what she calls Station 12 Studio. That is physically out of the Greenlight Cinema, and they have acting classes, improv classes running year-round, different semesters. So a lot of people have come from those classes. It feels like SNL and the improv scene in New York, where it's like a feeder almost.
Yeah, Eugenie was also on one of our episodes.
She was episode 1.
Yeah.
And she has been on my list to have back. So maybe this is how we get her back.
You might see her real soon.
Eugenie, are you watching? Come on back.
What do you think, friend?
Sam, as a woman in film, where can you find our podcast?
You can find Loose Framing Podcasts on YouTube, Podbean, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Also, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Film Tampa Bay.
And with that, catch us next time.